Hi everyone, Dr. Steve G. Jones here. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and self-made millionaire and founder of Total Money Magnetism. And in this video, I'm about to reveal the 10 most significant differences between rich and poor people. Not only that, but I'll also show you how to rewire your mind to think like a millionaire. Now, before we get started, don't forget to post your thoughts in the comments below if something resonated with you in this video, or if you have any questions. Okay, so what do you think separates the wealthy entrepreneurs from ordinary people? Is it the dollar amount on their paycheck? Is it the connections they have and the people they know? Or is it the number of hours they put in every week? Well, to those questions, I'd have to say yes and no. While those things are an indication of wealth, there's more to it than that. Those are just the external signs, and they don't tell the whole story. The real difference between the rich and the poor comes down to something else entirely. Now, before we get further into it, let's turn the clock back a little bit. Not too long ago, I was drowning in thousands of dollars of debt, $80,000 to be exact, and I was a totally different person back then. I acted and thought like a poor person. I saw the world differently, and my dire financial situation perfectly reflected my inner world. It came to a point where I realized that something had to change, and it needed to start from within. So I started replacing my old habits with brand new ones. Over time, I gradually made a lot of changes in my mindset and attitude that helped me become an author, business owner, and multimillionaire. So I'm going to show you how to rewire your own mind to think like a millionaire. But first, you need to understand why some people attract wealth naturally and why other people are always broke. Number 10, pursuing risky opportunities versus playing it safe. Let's do this countdown style and start with number 10, which is pursuing risky opportunities versus playing it safe. People who are good at making money understand that they need to take calculated risks. The higher the stakes, the higher the payout. So they invest in things like stocks and real estate that have a potential for high return. They might take a hit from time to time, but rich people know it's part of the game. On the other hand, poor people play it safe too much, and they don't factor in risk when they invest. They attempt investing in certificates of deposit, CDs, bonds, and while these are considered as low-risk investments, the payout is also pretty low in the long run. So poor people are too concerned with the potential loss and don't focus on the potential gain. This is why they don't really get a lot of return on their investments. Speaking of investing, let's move on to number 9, investing in assets versus spending the difference. Number 9 is reinvesting your income on money-making assets versus buying stuff. Poor people don't have the financial discipline to set aside a portion of their paycheck on something that can help them make more money in the future. Instead, they splurge on something they don't need. After that, they pay off their bills and whatnot and spend whatever else is left on stuff they don't need. This is not a healthy cycle. Rich people dedicate a fixed amount of their income to an asset that'll grow their business in some way. Once they do this, only then do they spend their money on other things. If that means having to make sacrifices here and there, then so be it. Millionaires know that reinvesting creates a snowball effect on their money, so keep that in mind. Number 8, scarcity versus abundance. Number 8 is abundance versus scarcity. Poor people always think there's not enough to go around, while rich people think, how can I have enough to go around? More importantly, poor people don't think they deserve to be wealthy, so they think their opportunities are limited. They've closed their minds to the opportunities and possibilities out there. They're conditioned not to aim for anything outside of their comfort zone, and they choose to be trapped by fear. Rich people, on the other hand, know they deserve all the wealth and abundance in life, so they dare to break out of their comfort zone. As long as they put in the work and continuously grow, they know they can have everything they could ever want, and they don't feel guilty about it. Number 7, embracing challenges versus blaming the world. Number 7 is all about taking on life's challenges versus running away from them. Rich people like doing things that are uncomfortable if it means they can grow and improve from it. They look at problems as opportunities and challenges that they can capitalize on later in the future. And they accept that challenges are part of the process of becoming a wiser person and better at the money-making game. Poorer people don't see it like that. When a problem comes along, they avoid working on it and they put it out of sight and out of mind. On top of that, they don't take any responsibility and they blame their circumstances instead. Even though we are not able to choose some of the situations that we run into, we always choose how to respond to them. Number 6, having clear intentions versus putting it off for tomorrow. Number 6 is having a defined path towards wealth versus not having any vision of the future. Both rich and poor people have big dreams and life-changing ideas, but the difference between them boils down to having direction and purpose. Without these things, you can talk all you want about wanting to be rich someday, but you'll never get to where you want to be. Having a plan and taking action to execute it makes all the difference in the world. Rich people have a clear vision of the future, and they actually spend time visualizing what they want in stunning detail. This is a powerful skill, and I can teach it to you. We'll get to that in just a bit. For now, let's move on to the next difference between rich and poor people. Number 5, diverse sources of revenue versus living on wages. Okay, so number 5 is having multiple streams of income versus living from paycheck to paycheck. The other thing I've noticed in people who stay broke for decades is they don't use their earnings to open new avenues for wealth. They're so caught up with spending on things that don't bring value to their lives. So they're trapped in this cycle where they're dependent on a single paycheck and they don't get ahead in life. Even if you are not a business owner, you can create another stream of income by finding a side hustle. Find something you like doing and find a way to monetize that. It's going to take a percentage of your wages plus your spare time, but if you put in the work now, you can create another source of revenue and grow that into something bigger later on. Remember, being rich isn't just about having a ton of cash. It's also about having options. Number 4, hanging out with winners versus hanging out with losers. Number 4 is finding people who inspire you versus being with people who make you miserable. Have you ever noticed how people tend to like being around other people they're on the same page with? We gravitate towards folks with similar frequencies or vibrations. We feed off each other's energy and we reinforce beliefs we have about the world. It's sort of like an echo chamber, really. And most of the time, we do this unconsciously. The challenge is that people who are bad with money hang around like-minded folks, and that doesn't help them climb out of debt or poverty. Now, I'm not talking about attempting to judge anyone based on their financial situation, but the truth is that being around people who don't know how to manage their money won't help you get rich. So, if you actively seek out people who have different energy about them, then they can help you get to where you want to be. Number 3. Gratitude versus contempt. Number 3 is something that hits close to home because I used to complain about pretty much everything around me. Even the smallest inconveniences used to annoy me, and it was hard to see anything good in the world when I was still in that dark place. And now I understand that part of getting rich is about making a conscious effort every single day to acknowledge and appreciate the good things that I've got going for me. People who grew up poor often believe that the world is unfair and that it owes them something. When you walk around with this chip on your shoulder, it really distorts your outlook on life as a whole. So one of the things that you can start doing today is list down 3 blessings that make your life easier. It doesn't matter how small you think these blessings are. Keep an eye out for at least 3 of them every day and list them down. Life is a mixed bag, I know, but if you choose to focus on the things that bring you joy and inspiration, well, you're going to find that this tends to multiply. All right, number 2, sharing your gifts with the world versus looking out for your own. Difference number 2 is about helping others succeed versus focusing too much on yourself. This is somewhat related to the idea of abundance and scarcity that we've talked about earlier. You see, poor people are consumed by the fear that there's not enough in the world. They think that resources are limited, and that includes their time, knowledge, and talents. They don't think about sharing their gifts with the world because of this fear, and this is actually counterproductive behavior if you think about it, and it makes them poorer in the long run. When you help other people get to where they want to be, you're also helping yourself get ahead in life too. Rich people became rich because they understand this basic truth. The energy of goodwill you put into the world will eventually find its way back to you 100-fold. Actually, the act of sharing puts you in the general vicinity of wealth-minded folks, and they're going to lift you up in ways you haven't imagined yet. And that brings us to the last one. Number 1, empowering beliefs versus toxic beliefs. And the biggest difference between rich people and poor people is how they see themselves. People who are always broke tend to have this narrative about who they are, and it's usually a skewed one at that. They go around talking in the back of their minds that there's something wrong with them or that they're damaged in some way. Rich people don't let that kind of baggage hold them back. They have a completely different story about themselves, and they live it out to the fullest. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of the top 10 differences between rich and poor people. Number 10, pursuing risky opportunities versus playing it safe. Number 9, reinvesting in assets versus spending. Number 8, scarcity versus abundance. Number 7, embracing challenges versus blaming the world. Number 6, having clear intentions versus putting it off for tomorrow. Number 5, diverse sources of revenue versus living on wages. Number 4, hanging out with winners versus hanging out with losers. Number 3, gratitude versus contempt. Number 2, sharing your gifts with the world versus looking out for your own. And number 1, empowering beliefs versus toxic beliefs. Now, the challenge is that some people have gotten used to operating on distorted beliefs, and it's hard for them to create positive beliefs about themselves. If that's the case with you, you need to unlearn these beliefs by using affirmations, and I can teach you how to do that so that you can start making more money. In my free ebook, The Skill of Money Magnetism, 6 steps to train your brain to think like a millionaire, you'll learn how to use these affirmations and visualizations, plus a bunch of other wealth-building mindset skills that will help you attract money as you've never done before. So go ahead and get this book right now at www.totalmoneymagnetism.com/skill. Again, you can get your free copy by going to www.totalmoneymagnetism.com/skill so you can start learning how to think like a millionaire. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to get more wealth creation videos. Leave your comments below this video and share your experiences with creating abundance in your life. Thanks for watching Total Money Magnetism. I'll talk with you again soon.